Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's talk about a video about Sleep, the new Sleep Facade that Laravel has recently released. It's basically a lightweight wrapper around the sleep and use sleep function built into PHP with a little bit of a fluid or builder interface, and it also allows you to make assertions and run tests against it. So let's dig right in. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is sleeping for a specific duration. So if we want to do that, it's as simple as sleep for, and then we can put in whatever interval, duration, etc. that we want. So if we want to sleep for, let's say 5 seconds, we can put a 5 here, and then we call seconds. It's important to note that you have to put the duration unit afterwards. So we have to say 5 and then seconds. I initially made that mistake when I was playing around, so it's something to keep in mind. So if we want to check to see if this is working, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a dump, and I'm going to do now. This is just going to give us like a date object as now. And then I'm just going to say toDate time string. And then I'm going to add one after this. So when I run this, we should see a difference of 5 seconds. And over here on the right, we can see that it indeed lasted 5 seconds. So perhaps we might want to sleep for a very specific amount of time. So let's do the dumps. Let's say we wanted to sleep for 1.5 seconds. What we can do is sleep for 1 seconds. And then there's something called and then we can say 500 milliseconds. And so this should sleep for 1.5 seconds. And then let's run this. Okay, we can see that while the date time string is not giving us the exact milliseconds, we can see that it at least lasted more than a second. If we increase this to 1,000, we should get a different result, and it should say 2 seconds now. So it says 314 to 316, and so we know that it's lasting 2 seconds. So as we can see here, that Laravel is giving us sort of this builder or fluent interface is what they like to call it, to kind of chain and do these kind of things. One interesting thing that I thought would be helpful is if you wanted to sleep until a specific time, or you wanted to add a specific amount of time from now, you can do that. So if we dump and then we do sleep, and we can say until, and then if we just do add seconds, and let's say we sleep for 2 seconds and then we dump that again. So again, this should sleep for 2 seconds. Okay, we can see that it slept for 2 seconds, but okay, that's great. We're kind of seeing how it can potentially be used just as we're kind of messing around with it just testing things out. But let's say we're making a call externally, we want to sleep, and then we want to make another call. So, and then we might want to write a test for that. So let's take a look at what that might look like. Okay, I'm going to create a class called sleep class or sleep service. And this sleep service is going to make a call to, let's say, Google and Yahoo. And we're going to make sure that, 1, that those calls are made, and then 2, that something was actually slept. Or while we're running our tests, we want to make sure that the test didn't sleep, because if we were sleeping while we were running our tests, it's going to take a long time. So let's just say make call to Yahoo and Google. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to use Laravel's built-in HTTP client, and we're going to say https://yahoo.com, and then we're going to sleep for 10 seconds, and then we're going to make another HTTP call to google.com. And when we run the tests, if we don't call sleep fake, what's going to actually happen is the test is going to sleep for 10 seconds. And if you could imagine having hundreds, if not thousands of tests, if you're using sleep anywhere, it's going to slow down your test suite quite a bit. So let's look at writing a test for this. Let's create a new class called sleep service test. And it's going to extend the test case so we can get all the special stuff that Laravel gives us while we're writing tests. And we've got this new test class here. All right, let's test that Google and Yahoo are being called. And then we can also test that the sleep actually slept. So we got to name our function with test in it. So test HTTP calls were made. So the first thing we got to do is do HTTP fake so that it knows not to actually make those calls. And then we also want to do a sleep fake, because if we don't do this, our test is actually going to run and take at least 10 seconds, and we'll prove that in a little bit. We need to actually call our service. So if we call our service, so new sleep service, and then we make the call to Yahoo and Google, we want to assert that these two HTTP calls were actually made. So in order to do that, we need to set up a callback to prove it. And what we're going to say is that the request URL is equal to https://yahoo.com. And then we're going to make another one of these for Google. And now this is our test. So let's run our test to see if this works. And our test passed. We've got one test with two assertions. Our assertions, these are each of our assertions, so that's awesome. If we don't call the sleep fake, it's actually going to sleep. But we can see that this took 0.102 seconds. But if I comment this out and we rerun the test suite, we can see that this test suite is now taking quite a bit of time, whereas before it was almost instant. And here we can see that the test took 10.102 seconds, which is equal to the same amount of time that we just did, however, plus the 102, which is the same amount that was originally called. Now, there are a bunch of assertions that you can make for sleep. And I'm just going to show a list here. You can do all different kinds, and I would just recommend looking at the documentation that Laravel provides. As always, Laravel's documentation is top-notch, and they really give good examples on how to do these things, so I'd encourage you to check those out. Well, that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe, as it helps my channel tremendously, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.